tonight, and maybe we can have a really hot and heated debate
Oh
tonight.
boy, I can't wait.
Yeah.
My body is ready. So the Tyven Show is a special guest tonight, but it's also convenient that he's here because I'm doing hardcore for the first time in a very long time, twice. I want to finish unlocking Diamond for both the sniper rifles and the shotguns, and I've pretty much got the carabine and the toggle action to work on. So we'll be doing a lot of hardcore, and I'm going to lean on Papa Tyven to carry me.
Oh no, he went to Papa Tyven. Oh my God.
I've been doing a lot of daddy jokes and stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead. Any hardcore mode you'd rather do? I was gonna do Dom or Kill Confirmed or something.
Anything except for Search and Destroy. To me, it's just like the dumbest game mode in the whole game. But
Okay.
anything else,
I'm gonna
I'm
do
fine with. But thanks for
hardcore
coming
Kill
over to the
Confirmed.
dark side tonight. Play some hardcore.
Oh, I got to. Well, for like the toggle action and stuff, it's nearly impossible to get one-shot kills otherwise. I'm gonna self-mute and welcome some people in my chat. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right, hello chat. I want to welcome the people that were here first today. Ryan Guzik, very long-time follower. Good to see you. Tyler Ross, Max Plight, Q Maestro, Bilbo T Baggins, I Mika, Calvin, Kyoko. Who else is Kartikaya Tiwari? A little bit of a mouthful. Baz DK, thank you for the sub. Excel Plays, Kyron Games, Fluffy the Three-Headed Dog, Alex Gores, Jammy Man, Geo, Owner Mage, Splinter, Rex Rahington, good to see you. First sub or sponsor I've seen tonight. Dragon 890 Games, Hunter Compton, June Jansen Gomez, Richard, Calvin again, King Awesome again, The Avenging Gamer, Leo, Andres, so many friends here tonight. Hello Draconian, hello Fluffy. We're going to go ahead and probably do the snipper rifles first. So I got to get some more one-shot kills with this snipper rifle and move into challenges with them before we go back into core mode. And hello, Hunter Compton. Good to see you. I am back. Just had to say hello to the chat and welcome some friendly faces.
Yes, sir.
And I am going to be so insanely out of my element here. I can't wait, dude.
Well, I do have one quick question / comment.
All right.
What is the deal with no multiplayer in the new remaster? I've been hearing a lot of rumors.
Well, I don't have any like elite, crazy, hardcore inside intel. Truly, I wish that I did, because then I would be making shameless videos about it. Man, these people are in our spawns so hard.
Oh, I got spawn swapped on me.
Yep, same here. But my understanding is that they are going to be doing campaign only, according to basically every single reliable leak that I have seen, which really sucks, because I really wanted Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer to be back. So that's the one that everybody really wanted, right? Like, that's where the series is debatably at its best.
Yes, we want new tubes. We want one-man army back.
You know, I think
you're
a lot of
against
people
that.
are really more excited about all of the other, like, modern Call of Duty guns and that sort of realistic, fast-killing military feel that it had.
I loved it, to be honest with you. I really missed my tactical inserts, by the way.
I can't tell if you're trolling me or not. You're mentioning,
No,
like,
serious. I was what do you want to call it? A tactical insert king. There was no way to get spawn camped and all that other kind of stuff, and I really enjoyed it, and I really missed it. Now the one-man army thing, I really loved it because I could do certain things and then switch over to my sniper. I was a big sniper on them games. So oh, it got me.
giving me heart attacks, man. You're mentioning every single thing I hated about that game.
Well, you know, I think it comes down to who likes what and how they like to play the game. And I know a lot of the pro guys really didn't care too much for it.
Well, there's a big difference between the pro guys and just getting one-man army noob tube out the anus all the time. Ground war at a point. This is actually really hard for me trying to snipe people when they can just kill me with better guns, dude. I'm 2 and 10 on my own stream.
I think it just comes down to how you played the game. Honestly, I really like those things. But we played a lot of team deathmatch. So those styles, those perks, if you want to call them, those advantages, it all come down to how you played, who you played with, and everything. But I really loved them. And halo jump.
So,
Like right now when we're playing this, a lot of the old crew that I ran with, we all throw grenades. Grenades is like the next best thing since we don't have tubes.
So were you playing hardcore or core?
Yeah, I played hardcore the whole Call of Duty career, man.
Okay. So they were a little bit less popular in hardcore. They could still kill you really easily with the tubes. But they were a little bit less popular because you could just so easily use bullets instead. But in core modes, where people could survive multiple shots, and I played a lot of objective modes. I was big into ground war and domination and like even kill confirmed and stuff like that. Actually, I think kill confirmed was an MW3 thing. But there was just nothing but tubes. In ground war, I kid you not, it would be an 8-man team of 1-man army noob tubes only. The game would start right off the spawn. You would hear doof, 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 and your whole spawn would get pummeled by tubes.
Oh yeah.
You
That's why they put
move.
that 5-minute rule in there to where you couldn't do it for 5 minutes.
Or you mean 5 seconds?
Or yeah, 5 seconds after when the game started, it wouldn't let you do it. Now, which was a kind of a bummer.
No, because the other team needs to be able to get out of their spawn. Otherwise, you're playing artillery the game.
Yeah, but I see your point. But it just comes down to how you played the game. I mean, a lot of us, we camped, we played hardcore all the time. And it was a strategy, it was a team-based, and I really enjoyed it.
So I'm on a completely different opinion on you here. When you mentioned debate tonight, I thought you were going to be talking like some gun or some political stuff, not this.
Oh, we could totally go that way too.
I'm unprepared for. But so there's definitely an acceptable attitude of you play the game, you get good, and you adapt. But in that game, the tubing would get so bad, it was more like you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a noob tuber. Like you had to counter tube in order to stay competitive in some modes. It was just so painful, and especially when you added danger close to it, you didn't even have to be particularly accurate with the tubes like you do now. Like for MW3 and especially in Black Ops 2 and the other COD games, they made it to where you kind of had to aim. In this game, you could just fling one at a building, doof, boom, done, and it'll work. No problems whatsoever. Super, super easy.
Yes, tubes were an issue, but we really didn't see that much chaos to what you're describing.
I wish I was in your lobbies, dude. My lobbies were different. We'll use the word different.
Well, see, like in Black Ops 2, when you play hardcore, it wouldn't allow you to spawn in front, so you wouldn't like constantly getting killed. If you come out like on Nuketown and you put a claymore down, it would hold that spawn. So there was different advantages of doing different things. But anyhow, I would like to talk to you about some the new YouTube guidelines, if you have a moment.
Okay, I'm all ears.
To get a perspective. I'm really scared about what's happening with the gaming. I've reached out and commented and tried to reach to a lot of people about different things and how the new YouTube guidelines in regards to weapons, especially you, since you do the breakdowns and stuff, that's where I really wanted to jump in and see how and what you think that's going to affect the Call of Duty community, the Battlefield community.
I think it's going to suck initially because the algorithm, as you know, is not particularly bright, and it can't tell the difference between a gun guide for a Call of Duty video and a gun, let's say, silencer assembly video, which would be something they would probably get really, really upset about. Like, it's not very bright. I've seen people use examples. The algorithm can't tell apart the difference between a suicide prevention video and a go kill yourself bullying type video. This is one of the other things that other YouTubers have had, is they've told their stories about, you know, I tried to commit suicide when I was 14 and these things happened, and if you want to, you know, reach out for help, talk to me, talk to the suicide helpline, something like that. And the algorithm detects that as a bullying video and makes it not advertiser friendly and flags it and does a bunch of very, you know, unpleasant things with it. And I can't imagine it's going to be any smarter about gaming content. For a very, very long time it wasn't. to some degree, it's a learning algorithm. It's gotten much better about flagging Call of Duty and Battlefield and things, but it will still flag them, and some people more than others, which is unfortunate. And I do not trust the so-called human reviews at all. I've specifically made videos with the intention of getting picked up by the algorithm, something that I know the algorithm won't like and that I'll get demonetized for. But it's something that a human being could watch for 30 seconds and know was not bad content at all. And I get flagged again for it, and my videos get permanently taken offline or demonetized. So I don't believe the second pass is a human as much as it is just a different algorithm that looks at it some other way, and it's going to suck.
Well, see, that's my whole point is if they're banning the breakdown of guns, how to lubricate guns, how to clean barrels, or if you show certain something, which is already illegal, and things are already on YouTube that, like Hank, you was on Hank Strange's show and everything, and with everybody that he deals with, they're not showing illegal by law content.
No,
but YouTube's guidelines have straight out said, no, you know this, know that, know everything. It pretty much bans everything. I've tweeted out Fwiz, I've asked Hike, I've talked to you, I've reached out to Barbara and everything, and I cannot get not one answer from anybody on how the new rules are going to be implemented in the gaming community. Now, I'm a big GTA 5 guy on YouTube. That's primarily what my channel is about. And we just do racing and stuff. I don't do the guns in GTA and all that other. But I do play Call of Duty, and once in a while we do the Call of Duty breakdown as far as just games. That's why I was wanting to ask you, you know, what's your thoughts? Is this the end of the first-person shooters on YouTube?
No, it won't be. It'll definitely suck for a while. As the algorithm's learning, it won't shut down shooters shooting content at all. The games are going to be here to stay because there's big advertising dollars behind the companies that want to advertise the games. So that's going to stay. Now, gun review channels and stuff like that may not stay just because it doesn't have advertiser support. And my personal experience with YouTube is not that the content they censor or dislike isn't content that they like politically disagree with, or right-wing content gets shut down or lower in search results or whatever. My experience is simply that the content that doesn't make money, that advertisers aren't interested in, is what gets shut down and demonetized and pushed to the side. Right now, that's going to be gun content. Gun content is a very, very hot issue for a lot of advertisers. And yes. AJ Shanahan says, yeah, YouTube basically has a monopoly in the video space where they can do what they want. It's not control of the whole internet, but its influence is absurd. And gun content is just spooky for advertisers at the moment. They're terrified of getting associated with guns or shooting or getting brigaded or anything. So,
well, if you went to a YouTube channel, a gun channel, before they wouldn't allow advertising.
Interesting.
And now there's advertising. The NRA has been doing a full and complete, just, I don't know what you want to call it, rage on advertising. And they're promoting it big time, and they're taking YouTube money. But then they'll turn right around and say, well, no, you can't do this. Well, no, you can't do that. And they're taking the money.
Yeah, because they're a company. They'll take any bit of money you want to give them. They'll take every single penny and gobble it on up. They don't... I would never assume that a company like Google or YouTube, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, whatever the hell, that they are a company that operates based on morals or principles primarily. They operate almost exclusively based on money. I did get a $10 donation coming in. We'll pause this for just a second. Schuster Media says, hey, Drift, I saw an untextured scavenger pack in COD World War II. What might that be? There is a perk or two that allows you to pick up and refill grenades and ammo and weapons off of dead bodies. So my guess is that it may just be a recycling of the scavenger perk from past Call of Duty games. and the packs are supposed to be invisible, but for some reason they glitched out and became visible, and they're just like a default, like, beige, bland texture or something like that. That would be my guess on it. I don't think it's a leak or anything intense or crazy. Anyway, backing up, I don't like the way that YouTube does a lot of things, but I think it is, man, people do not play this map like they do in Core. Not wise to judge them like you would a person or a being that has morals, because there's somebody said he got a 2-minute unskippable NRA ad on a video I made. Yikes. Yeah, they just, goddamn, I'm playing bad. They just want money. That's it. There's nothing else any more complicated than that.
That's what it comes down to. With that, and I was actually getting into doing a lot of gun videos and everything, and I was really wanting to do it, and then with the big hubbub, with everything that's going on, you know, uh-oh, I just shot my own teammate, sorry. Man, I tell you what, the shotguns in this game are OP.
Oh, well, that's because we're in hardcore mode. They're just like, they're silly here.
Alright, let me throw this down real quick. Let me give a shot real quick, some of my guys. Sponge Car, Russian, hello, Anderson, Miyamashu, Mickey, Mercy, Robert, Shane. What's up, everybody? Appreciate everybody coming, hanging out, watching the live stream here with Drift0r. Trying to get a whole nother perspective on a few things.
Recon aircraft ready. Recon airborne, searching for targets.
I'm just really concerned about what's going on, not only in the community and stuff. I'll give you a little thing that happened to me the other day.
Okay.
I reached out to a company. They make BB guns. I'm not gonna give a name or anything, but my grandson will be 4 years old here real soon.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, hey, you know, this is who I am. This is what I would like to do. I'm not asking for free merchandise or anything like that, but, you know, can I get something at dealer cost, or give me a promo code or something so I could, you know, get a good deal or whatever. And they said, well, we don't want to do anything because your grandson's 3 and he'll be 4 in about a month. And I said, well, I wanted to teach him proper weapon etiquette. You know, don't touch a gun without permission. You know, when you're around with people, this is how you hold it. You always respect it and everything. And they's like, well, we just don't want nothing to do with it at all.
What's the recommended age for their guns? Because they may be playing it pretty close on that.
It's 6.
That's probably a big issue for them, if I had to bet.
Well, if I would have said, hey, make a video and say, hey, this is who this is, and buy their gun, you know, and put it in the hands of a 3-4 year old, well then yeah, I would understand. But I was wanting to use it as a tool to teach weapon etiquette, not actually make a video of him, you know, actually shooting it or anything like that. And right after that, Matt from Demolition Ranch made a video. He bought 3 Daisy Duke BB guns and gave it to his kids. And his first thing when he said that, when he talked to his kids, is, you know, what do you do with guns? And they said, don't touch, don't point it at anybody, you know, don't disrespect it. And I sent him a link of that, and then they came back and gave me a bash and rush of stuff, and, well, sorry, we don't want to do anything. I said, well, okay, well, I understand, you know, legal liability and all that stuff, but still, you know, I was at that age when I started learning about guns. You didn't touch a gun without permission. If you did, you got a boot in your butt. And if you was out on the farm shooting groundhogs and stuff, you know, because we had hay fields, that, you know, you always shot it in a safe direction, make sure there was nobody on the other side of the hill or shooting towards a house. Always get into a position to where, you know, you're safe. Hey, look at that, first place.
Nice job.
But I think with what's going on down in Florida, yes, it's tragic. Yes, those students passed away, and my heart and condolences go out to them. But guns is not what the failure was. It's the failure of law enforcement enforcing the law. of current law. And now it's come to find out that these kids are being treated as pawns, and they've got all these great big left, I mean, like way big left, right wing people scripting these kids. These kids, a couple of them even went on and said, hey, you know, they asked us to write down questions. So when we get on TV and blah, 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 come to find out that the questions that they was writing down, they went in and changed it, and that's what they had to ask. And there's a lot of students that are standing up and saying, no, this is not right. And then Governor Scott down there signed a law down there in Florida that banned bump stocks, banned drop-in triggers. You can't buy a rifle until you're 21. Well, what is if I'm a single father or a single lady that has a kid, let's say hypothetically their man or husband is in the Army or got killed or whatever, and they're at home at the age of 18 and 19 and they're a single parent, they literally took their constitutional rights away from them to protect themselves.
Similar to how 18-year-olds can't drink, or you have to be 25 to rent a car, a hotel room, a lot of things like that are questionable, in my opinion.
Oh, what am I playing? I don't remember seeing this board. Is this a new board?
Yeah, it's a shipment. It's like COD 4 shipment, dude.
Oh, it is.
Better get your shotgun ready.
Oh, yeah, there's some blazing going on. I gotta remember the spawns. I don't remember the spawns.
They're all trash. Spawns are 100% trash. Good luck. Throw random grenades, win the game.
Oh! I had 5 of them right in front of me.
So it's...
Look at that, 4-piece. Oh, I didn't get it.
All of these things that you say do concern me. I'm gonna, for the sake of the stream, I would generally agree with you on a lot of this, that the right to own a firearm and protect yourself is a constitutional right, and that it should be protected even in the face of popular demand to repeal these things. However, from the perspective of the politicians and a lot of companies and things, firearms are not exactly popular at the moment. Perhaps less popular than they've been in a very, very long time, since Columbine, perhaps.
Yes,
and
but that's the foundation of the country, though. How can you deny somebody their constitutional right?
Well, there are people, and they have been here for a very long time, that do not believe that it should be a right to own firearms, and they would rather do away with that.
Oh! I think I got kicked.
You got kicked for killing teammates? Crap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish this game just because this is like top tier like camo challenges for me. So, so there's a lot of people, and let's try not to think of them as evil just for the moment, just of a different opinion, that don't think that average citizens should own guns, for the exact reason of, if you increase gun availability, especially in dense urban areas and with thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of people, to a point, it adds unnecessary danger, fire, gasoline, chaos to an environment that would otherwise be much less so without firearms. A lot of reasons to own and arguments for, totally aware, but I want you for a minute. Did you do military service, right?
Yes, I was in for just shy of 5 years. I was
stationed overseas, correct?
I did some overseas time, yes, sir.
Okay, on a base, not combat.
No combat, in bases.
Okay. Which country?
Korea and a few other over in Europe.
Okay, so we'll just say Korea. I'm gonna guess Germany and well, anyway.
Bosnia, Iraq.
Well, Iraq. Okay, let's stick with Korea. Now, when you were off base in Korea, and you went out on the streets just to do whatever the hell, have fun, go out night on the town, did you ever once worry about getting shot? Answer is no, because Koreans don't have guns.
No, because it depended on the country. Like, if you was in Greece, you don't walk the streets alone. There was no... We never had a party less than, like, 6. That way you wouldn't get jumped in those countries, because there was more worried about getting robbed or stabbed or just hatred towards Americans. You never went alone off base.
Korea's bad about knives and stabbing, and it's dangerous. They're bad
guns.
Places to go, but no guns.
Yes, there was guns
in Korea.
Yes, sir.
Where?
Certain populations did have them.
Okay.
We had the Katusas, which is the Korean military that was with us, and when we deployed or did our maneuvers or whatever, they were with us, and they carried their weapons as well.
Look, that's unusual. It must have been different times. My experience traveling to Asia, which wasn't Korea, but Japan, Singapore, a little bit around Europe, is that generally speaking, there was almost no concern for firearms because they were not accessible to the general population. If I went to possibly the worst place in the city, there might be guns. Police generally didn't carry them. It was just something that wasn't on my mind. It was not a concern. There were bad people, right? I could get robbed, pickpocketed, stabbed, baseball bats, but shot at was pretty much off the table, especially in Japan and Singapore. That was just not a thing.
Yeah, back up, pick me up.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm waiting for the lobbies to cycle. So there are people in the U.S. that would like to turn the general attitude of this country and everything about it, let's see if I can invite you, to something more similar to that, where they have no concern about getting shot, about getting robbed. We'll just say shot, primarily. That's just like not even on the table. And that by removing guns from the civilian population, you can more or less achieve that goal, or that you can almost achieve that goal. You can do it very closely. Because if civilians don't own guns, it's police and military only. Owning a gun is going to be a rare thing. If you see a gun, you'll call the police. In countries like the UK and even Japan and Korea now, the Yakuza and the criminals very, very, very rarely use firearms. They'll stab the ever-living shit out of you, but they don't shoot at people because it causes so much trouble. That's kind of what they want. That's the end goal, is to remove that fear from their life.
I see your point, but you also must take into consideration that the government has more influence over the population. It's just not about guns. The U.S., we're free to say anything we want, when we want, and where we want. If I'm in the mall and I see a person that I literally, by looking at them, cannot tell if it's a he or a she, if you don't use the right word, you go to jail.
In the U.S.?
No, in Europe or in these other countries,
correct,
by
debatably.
using a misquote of gender, like California, it's hate speech.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's something I hate about those countries. Their idea of freedom, they have freedom from speech, they have freedom from hurtful speech instead of freedom to speak whatever. And I think that's a backwards concept. Thankfully, we're all Western countries and civilized, so in practice it's not very different, but yeah, what you're talking about does concern me.
But that also includes protection and all the other stuff. They have more control over society, and they don't understand that a armed society keeps a polite society. And the law and the government can't protect you all the time, every time. It's just not going to happen.
Correct. There are fundamental reasons for which those things will fail. However, there are well-meaning people that live in the United States. This is more typically going to be in an urban area, where police can get places quickly and where the deputies don't have to drive 30 minutes. Or in nice cities, like I live in a very, very, very nice place. YouTube has done well for me. If I call the police, they're at my house in 5 minutes. Like, no shit. People that live in environments like that do not see the necessity for owning a firearm. And for their lives, they probably don't.
And you live in Texas!
Right. But it's an example, right? It could be anywhere. The point being is, police can be in my house in minutes here in Texas, super quick. There is virtually zero crime in my city or my neighborhood, so realistically speaking, outside of YouTube, I don't have a big necessity to own firearms. And I'll travel abroad and I'll see these things abroad, and I'll think, well, why can't that work in my country? And that's where a lot of people get these ideas. They're not mean, stupid, hateful people. They just have different experiences, unfortunately. Now, I would agree with you. I do think that owning a firearm is important for perhaps different reasons. I really love the ideas that America has about absolute freedom. Freedom for me to just tell you, like, Tyvan, if I just met you, like you're talking about misgendering somebody in the mall, if I just met you and I wanted just to tell you, you look like a stupid, ugly fuck, and I hope your kids get cancer, that's something that I can do completely legally as an expression of my freedom. It's not nice or polite, but it is my right to offend you as much as I damn well see fit, because that also allows me to criticize and to speak freely and passionately about anything without governmental control or interference. And like countries in Europe, when they make freedom, the big one that comes up now is Islam. Like, you can't criticize Islam without being Islamophobic.
Oh, Islam. Okay.
Yeah. So if I were to say things about negative about Islam there, it could debatably be illegal or Islamophobic, even if it is in just the nicest, like, intellectual criticism possible.
It's rude to say it in the U.S., but if you're overseas and you disgrace Allah, it's automatic death sentence.
What, you know, out in the Middle East?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that is, you're rip, dude.
Yeah, and the tolerance over here has gotten to the point to where I think the frustration is coming to a mass. And I look at that as a way that if you take moral, human responsibility of self-protection, self-awareness, protect yourself, your family, and your land, and i.e. land was like the United States. That's why there's never going to be a war on the U.S., because there's so many, the civilian population is so armed. If we would get invaded, it wouldn't last very long.
It would be a hot mess. The same reason Hitler didn't invade Switzerland. All their citizens had guns, and they would just have to slog up these damn mountains, getting all their troops, all their supply lines would just be just sniper targets for months. They probably could have done it, but would it have been worth it? No.
Yeah. My whole biggest fear in all this stuff, I mean, I went to a website the other day, and I ordered 300 rounds of 308 7.62 by 51, so I can make some gun videos at the range, and do a few other little things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the freedom of being able to do that and enjoying the right to say, hey, you know what? I bought it, I earned it. Oh, it got me. That I can go and I can buy and do whatever I want when I want, and knowing that I have that responsibility, that, you know, I'm not going to go out and shoot a bunch of people.
Correct.
That's part of being a gun owner and doing all that. The lack of firearm education is what's one of the problems in America.
It is definitely a big problem. And so you'll have that, right? And I would call it the 1 in 100 rule. You could use this example in any group of people, any political spectrum. If I were to go out on the streets and give 100 people AR-15s, which is the bad gun now, it used to be Glocks, you know how it's just popular in media. If I were to just go up and down my street and hand out 100 AR-15s at random, I guarantee you 99 people would never shoot anybody with them. No harm would ever come from it. But that one person, the one crazy person, the one psychotic person, the one fuckwit is going to go and shoot somebody and ruin it for the 99. Unfortunately, in the case of firearms, and this is where a lot of people are of different opinions than you on it, is that one firearm can do an astonishing amount of damage. So that one crazy person can ruin it for 99 good people like you.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Why did you specifically pick out the AR-15 in that comment?
Just because that was the one they used in the school shooting, and it just makes it's just like an easy something for the audience to latch onto, an anchor point, probably.
Okay.
No other reason.
I just want to be clear. It does not matter the type of weapon.
No.
A 22 round will do the exact same thing and purpose of end result of a 5.56 or any other type of round is either protect or feed yourself. That's the whole thing about firearms. And it does not matter whether if it's a pistol, a 9mm, a 45, or anything else, and it only takes one bullet.
That's why I use a lot of lower calibers for most of my firearms, 9mm, 40 cal. I don't play around with 40, a 44, 44 Magnum, anything crazy like that. I've got friends that all their guns are like the biggest, baddest, and I'm like, nope, I'll just go with low recoil, easy to shoot, because as long as it hits the target, it's going to do the work.
Well, 9mm is starting to get, as far as a financial perspective, is not as pricey, as expensive, not only to shoot, not only easy to shoot, but to target practice. This team killed King Dong. That it's affordable. And I
You're
think
very
that's
right
why,
about that.
I mean,
And anyway,
just
we have a guy in the chat saying that he lives in a high crime, poor neighborhood in London, and he believes earnestly, honest to God, that I'll back up a little bit. He says there are stabbings, murders, beatings, and terrible things that happen in his neighborhood. If firearms were legal to be purchased like they were in the U.S., that would increase almost 100-fold.
No, I'll say this. Because they are an unarmed society, and they say, okay, we're going to allow everybody to be armed. Well, yeah, well then there's going to be a certain specific percentage that people are going to do some weird things until law and order is adjusted. But if they had guns and they were used to having them around, it would be no different than you was in the U.S. right now. There's not mass shootings. There's, of all that kind of stuff, dude. It doesn't happen.
It's interesting. You can see, I think a better way to express what you're trying to say is a lot of people compare shootings to the, let's say, United States and UK. That's the most common comparison. And they're like, well, United States has like 500 times more shooting. And I'm like, well, no duh, we've got like 500 times more guns. It's much more accurate to compare violent crime rates in general, just assault, murder, whatever, and you'll see that there's a much stronger correlation between other factors. That the violent crime rates in Western countries are largely similar, and you see much stronger correlations with poverty, population density, and things like that, instead of access to weapons for total crimes.
Correct. Take the weapon, the type of weapon out of it. Per capita equal to population, there's just as many deaths in their country as what you would see here in the U.S. Now, in '86 is when they had the Hughes Amendment ban, which took out all automatic weapons. The only people who could have them, military, police, and if you were a weapons manufacturer. Okay, '86, I was a freshman in high school. I grew up in the country. Maybe once a year from like the age of 4 to 16, 17 years old, once in a while you hear that rat-da-da-da-da-da-ow, once in a great while. But you rarely ever heard fully auto fire. And people think, oh, if you legalize them, it's going to be blood in the streets. No. All the way up to the '86, you didn't hear anything like that. You didn't see anything like that. And I'm against the Hughes Amendment, by the way, but the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. And I don't understand what part of that people don't understand. Now, gun regulations, gun rules, and things like that. If you're a criminal, no, you should not get your guns. You should not own and possess a gun. There's a fine line. I actually heard another guy the other day say, okay, let's say I was in prison for hauling 20 pounds of marijuana across state lines and the Tennessee cops got me and I spent 3 years in jail. Should you get your gun rights back? You spent time in jail. You paid your debt to society.
Correct.
It wasn't a crime against
you also
another
lose your right
individual.
to vote, if I'm not. Don't you lose your right to vote if you commit a felony?
I do believe yes, sir.
Okay, just making
but
sure.
let's say 5 years went by after your court, you got out of jail, and it's been 5 years. Should you get your rights back?
To vote? Yes.
To vote, own a
absolutely.
firearm? I mean, if it wasn't if it was a weapon that was not used in a crime, there was no weapon, but you went to jail.
My opinion is it's going to depend on the type of crime, and this is where it gets all wishy-washy. Violent crime, probably not. I would say no. If you're already have been convicted of a violent crime, rape, murder, assault with a hatchet, something way more extreme, definitely not. If it's you, even drug dealing, like as you well know, I smoke marijuana when I go to legal states. I think it's fantastic, honestly, but I would even be leery about letting somebody that was smuggling drugs to own a firearm, because there's a huge difference between Jeff, the sketchy guy down the street that's going to sell you a little bit of weed, and Dave, the guy that runs 50 pounds of it across the border. And Dave, the guy that runs 50 pounds of marijuana across the border, is probably not the guy that you want owning guns. It's an issue of, and I'm sure you well know that there are people, a lot of them in prison for a reason. There's not a lot of innocent people in prisons. I do believe that our system works pretty well, especially for violent crime and stuff like that. And if you just allow them to save up some money and walk into a store and buy a gun, that's a problem. That's a big, spooky, scary problem. Or you? I can hear your disagree. I can hear your disagreement. I'm all ears.
This guy's camping me out over here, man. I can't get over there.
Okay.
When it comes to marijuana, I got a little bit of a different view. I think that's God's natural herb to help people. I think marijuana could be a very good thing to help individuals in I'm not going to say disorders, but pain, that kind of stuff. It's a natural thing. It grows on the planet. It wasn't manufactured by man. It's a natural thing. And I think that it shouldn't be as regulated as what it is. I have friends that have chronic issues, chronic pain, and the drugs and the opioids that they prescribe to them could literally destroy your life. Financially, yes. Morally, emotionally, and
dude, opioids
marijuana.
Are no joke. That is some serious business.
Well, I was on it for a while. Ooh. I took opioids because of my back problem. I'm very, very careful in what I do and how I use it and all that stuff because of my job and what is required of me. Taking that kind of thing can actually put people's lives
You're breaking up quite a lot. Say that again.
It could put their lives in my hands as when I'm driving. I don't want to be on a narcotic that could potentially cost somebody their life. Oh! Sorry. I just got ganked over here in the corner. So I don't take them when I'm driving because I put people's lives in danger. I have my life, the people around me, what I do. I've got hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars of product in my truck that, if I'm involved in an accident, it could cost the company a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And with my security clearances and everything that I've got, if I'm put in that situation, I would lose all that. I could lose my home, my family, everything that I do. So I don't do it.
Do you mind if I hang up and call you back real quick on Skype? You're breaking up a bit. I'm going to reset the connection. Ahead. It's being a little stupid on me.
Yep, go ahead.
I had to snipe that guy in the back. I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick.
Alright. I'm going to camp over here and give a shout out real quick. Jasper, the neck. What's up, brother? How you doing? Oh, there we go. Are we back?
Oh, we are back, much
All right.
louder and clearer, and I respect you for that decision. That's a very important decision. In the case of marijuana, I'm going to agree with you. Right, they're largely deregulated, more legalized. The example I was trying to make is that even if marijuana is arbitrarily illegal, there's a big difference between like the guy selling little $20 baggies and stuff and the guy who knows it's illegal and wants to like build a fake floor under his car and drive it from Mexico into the US and flip mad quantities. Even if it's something that I would morally agree with on a product side, that's a totally different level of illegality going on. Like if I was told it were illegal to fart, there would be a big difference between quietly like letting one out in the bathroom versus just like going into a theater and blasting off.
Oh, you know, I'm at that age now. When I walk down the grocery store, I used to make fun or giggle and laugh at the old lady that had to walk in farts. And I tell you what, I'm at the age now that it happens. That you know, you just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But to get back on the substance, I think that it should be used. I think it should be regulated, and I think that people should have access to it to help them in their situation. I just don't think that it should be randomly open in the public where this guy could sit at Times Square or downtown at the statue and just burn one, unless he needs it for a purpose. I
Because
think
it gets everywhere, man.
Yes, and that's not going to happen. It's everywhere now. People do it in the back alleys. People do it everywhere. I was in Denver, Colorado here about 3 years ago.
Oh, Lord.
And 3 guys passed me in a pickup, dude, passing around a bong. And this wasn't no like bong. This guy had like a little King's keg, like the little beer kegs. That's how big the bong was, and they were passing it around.
You should never drive and smoke. That's just a terrible idea. That's like the worst combo you can do.
Yes, sir. But I don't know. I think that they should use it as a controlled substance and pass it out to be used by the population instead of using opioids, because opioids are more dangerous, more addictive, can cause more harm financially, emotionally, and mentally. And
right, but opioids make money.
People's lives. Yep.
Oh shit! I thought that was a teammate for a second. The opioid epidemic is a very strange one. It's very, very unusual because you usually think about drugs being from like some dude in Colombia, you know, pumping in cocaine that doesn't care how damaging it is. But the opioid epidemic largely started with drug manufacturers here in the United States recommending them to doctors to recommend to their patients. And we have strict laws on what you can ask a doctor to do or not do. But they either ignored those laws, broke them, or skirted them as closely as humanly possible to just get doctors to recommend as much as possible. Just opioids are the cure for all of your patients' woes. Please, please, please use them. Then they started doing weirder things like shipping huge shipments of thousands of opioids to very, very small towns that just couldn't support that level of demand. And I really do believe then, you know, shipments go missing and get stolen. And they lobby Congress really hard. I honest to God believe, and maybe it's just my inner hippie, that the drug manufacturers are in some way tied into the opioid black market as well. Like they are intentionally getting people hooked on this stuff because they'll make money out the anus on prescriptions. And then when
it's legal that way.
Yeah. And then when the clients get all fucked up, they'll just buy it off the streets anyway, and they can get some cash only off the books money just losing shipments and selling them to people and shit like that, you know, third world countries. And they say they're not. And I know I'm stuttering. If I go look up financial documents, none of that stuff will be there. But it has to be. It makes no other sense for it to be any other way. They have to be involved somehow in the opioid trade.
Controlled chaos.
Maybe.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I've been on pain meds, and let me tell you what, they're very effective. They do work. They help out tremendously. I don't have to sit there and, you know, fire up a bowl or whatever, but I don't know, man. It's just I think it comes down to the person. I mean, yes, they're pushed on people, and yes, there's a huge financial, got me, a huge incentive for. I mean, just like a Viagra. It doesn't even have to be opioids. Look at Viagra. You know, how many people above the age of 50 in a nursing home are on Viagra now?
A lot.
A lot. It works. I mean, it's some good stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's a drug used, and it makes money, and there's a driving force for it. There's a need for it. People want it. It's just crazy. It really is. I think a lot of society has gotten out of hand out of the want, the need to have the. Trying to protect myself here. I'm like totally camping over here in the corner.
I'm camping it up to get these carabine bloodthirsties. I am camping so hard.
Oh, he got me. 3 in the bottom of the house. But. Mr. Froman, you doing all right, sir?
Talking to me? Oh, Froman.
Yeah, I'm just, what is it about being above?
Yeah, I hate the opioid epidemic. So, as you know, I'm not a very big Trump supporter, to say the least. That's one thing I'm super happy that their administration is working on, is trying to stop this opioid epidemic. God bless them for that. Nobody else is doing it.
They want to stop them, Drifter. All they got to do is ban them like they did fentanyl. Just ban it.
Yep.
If it's not there, well, then there's no need for it. There's no purpose for it. Now, I will say this. That is an option. That is not a belief or a feeling. Because I've used painkillers, and they dramatically help, and a huge advantage.
Right. Some people need these. Some people really need them.
Really badly need them. And I think that they should have alternative options, I think would be a better way to put it. Oh, he got me from behind. Oh, I got team killed by my own guy. What the heck? I don't know. Anymore, it's come down to, oh, you're okay. Don't worry about it. You messed up. We're just going to slap you on the hand and have a nice day. And I think compassion and not enforcing the law is more of an issue now.
What do you, compassion in regards to
law
level
enforcement?
Offender? Or, I don't know, are you talking about white collar crime or like poor people crime? Which one?
Any kind of crime. You commit, if you commit murder, look, you committed murder.
Oh, murder, yes.
I give you a certain amount of time to prove that you're innocent, due process. I don't have a problem with that. But, okay, you committed murder. I live in a execution state. Well, you know what? Have a nice day, sir. You should have thought about it before you did it. You had ample time to prove yourself innocent. Oh, that guy just slaughtered me.
I've gone more against the death sentence as I got older, mostly because people make mistakes on criminal trials and stuff. Life in jail's pretty damn expensive, I'm aware, and the death sentence is a big, not deferral. It scares people. Nobody wants to die. Ain't nobody want to get hanged or whatever. But shit gets messed up, and I would never want that to be me that somehow gets tied up in some sort of weird murder mystery plot thing, and I have to prove my innocence in a certain amount of time or I just die. That would really suck.
That's just it. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, but that's that's not how human psychology works. Like, that's how our court system is supposed to work, but human brains don't work that way. Human brains do very quick associations.
Oh, it's locked up against the wall. It's just weird, man. But with everything that's going on now, and with guns, I talked to you about this when right before you went on with Hank.
Mm-hmm.
And video games and guns in society. And the way I look at it, I grew up playing chess. Everybody knows of the game of chess or knows how to play the chess. Every large corporation leader has played chess. Every leader of every country knows how to play chess. It's a very strategic game. It's multifaceted, multi-level. Teaches you critical thinking. It teaches you maneuvers. It teaches you how to manipulate another person's way of thinking by strategy. Video games is that on steroids. This game right here, you start on one side, you have to get to the other side. You have to take out certain things in life or change certain things in life or make a specific move that will give you benefits or a loss depending on what you're willing to sacrifice for a decision to get to where you want to go. Video games is the same thing. I look at it the same way. And the kids today that graduate high school, when I graduated high school, you know, we had to go get a 4-year degree. The kids that graduate today have that same education as a high school diploma and a 4 years degree when they graduate high school today. The kids today are smarter, they're more intelligent, they're quicker, they're faster, they can multitask, they can critical think faster and easier and do without thinking because they can already calculate their moves, like playing Call of Duty. You get to the other side, you jump up on the wall, you go around, you go underneath, you go to the left, you go to the right. And I think the excuse that people are using the gaming as an excuse for gun control is stupid. It's not even a valid discussion. It's just kids playing against other people throughout the world instead of sitting at home and playing with their parents or their friends in their home. They get to do the same thing across the world with other people. It's just... Oh, 308th in the middle.
I'm actually going to swap to shotgunning for this one.
Are you about done with that challenge?
I lost track of it because we were talking about things. So, and I think I have to swap classes. I have to get like non-mountain kills with this gun. So I think I'm... Oh, God. Good. I'm going to go ahead and swap.
Sorry, Fro, man. I know you didn't mean to team kill. You got three on the left of us.
Okay. Up top, I assume?
Yes. I think he's gone.
I just got a hit marker with a freaking shotgun. What?
Enemy bomb incoming. I'm inside. You missed me.
I think I just murdered a teammate. Yep, I just nuked a teammate right out the butt.
Oh.
Ben Salinas donated $3. Says, love the discourse, Drift. I thought you'd like to know that lethal injection actually costs more than life in prison due to the fact that the drug is manufactured in Europe and the EU has banned the sale of the drug to the US. Well, thank you for that. I understood that it was expensive also as well because of the amount of appeals that is very common when somebody gets a death sentence. Life in prison and the death sentence are very expensive, but I did not know that the death sentence has exceeded life in prison as of late.
Well, how much does it cost somebody to get a lethal injection? I don't...
Probably like 100K or more. If I had to guess, if I just had to guess.
Well, if it's 100K, let's say $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
It does not... It costs more to put a person in prison for 30 years than $300,000. You got to heat them, you got to clothe them, you got to feed them, you got to provide books, library... healthcare, you know, all of that. I don't see how that is a justified statement that it costs more.
Well, it's just the mathematical one. So a person on death row will do many, many, many appeals. And each appeal is sometime in the court, sometime going through that process, lawyers, doctors, trials, city resources, all sorts of stuff. Then you have to do the actual execution, which is quite expensive because of the professionals you have to have involved, the witnesses, judge, doctor, lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Expensive method of executing somebody. It's okay. I don't care. It doesn't matter at all. And by the end of it all, it does add up quite a bit. It's not cheap at all. All right, here's an interesting idea I'll throw. What do you think about private prisons?
That's a hard one. I think private prisons be more subject to rules and regulations versus a government facility.
What do you mean? Say that again?
I think private prisons are more subject to rules and regulations than I think a military or oh, what do you want to call it? A government institution.
Okay.
I think they still achieve the same outlook. I mean, all they're doing is basically guarding people and saying, hey, you can't do that anymore. Oh, it got me camping all the way back in the back.
This is another issue where I would disagree with you on greatly, both in practice and on a principled level. The idea behind private prisons is a belief that government is inefficient, and I think a lot of people would agree with that, and that bureaucracy and all that just doesn't work nearly as well as private monetary incentives. So the government will say, we have a budget of, like, I don't know, we'll say like $1,000 a month per prisoner, right? That's how much it costs them. And they'll say, well, you know, we'll pay you Prison Corp $1,000 per month per prisoner that you house. And if you think you can do it better and turn a profit on housing these people, if you can do it cheaper, better, more efficiently than we can because of that natural profit incentive, then more power to you. And they do, but the issue is they also cut corners as much as possible. Not that prisoners are treated nicely and corners aren't cut in regular prisons, but the fundamental disagreement there is that the incentives in the entire industry end up being very wrong. The incentive isn't necessarily to make the most efficient building that you can, but you will see this in many of the operating directives of private prisons, and especially who they lobby, that the incentive becomes to increase the amount of people in your prison to its maximum capacity. There were cases where private prisons were paying judges bounties for sentences because they would sentence them to that particular prison, and every time the judge would make that sentence, they would get a flat cash bonus from the prisons, completely illegally, of course, and everybody went to jail. But it does happen. And
should prisons be for profit?
Say that again?
Do you think prisons should be open for profit?
No, I don't.
So, if a government prison is not a profit corporation and a privately one would be, the government ones are the ones that I don't think would treat the individual properly or give them adequate representation versus a personal one or a privately owned one. But the privately owned one is a profit corporation. Nobody's going to go into business unless they can make money or get a big contract.
Correct.
That's why I'm kind of iffy. I mean, both of them's got yes, and some of them's both got no's. That's a hard one for me.
The issue is, so the profit motivation in prisons is unfortunately tied to roughly human enslavement, and I know prison and slavery is not the same thing. We'll do human confinement. That's a simpler one.
Okay.
Their motivation and their actions, as you'll see, are to increase the prison population as much as possible. When big prison corporations lobby Congress, local politicians, and anything, they lobby for longer sentences, harsher punishments, to make as many things as illegal as possible. And they also lobby for less regulations in the prison industry for obvious reasons. But at the end result of all this, what you're chasing is you've created a company that makes money off confining people, and they don't care if it's really right, moral, just, or anything like that. As long as they can get that confinement going on, we're doing it no matter what. And on top of that, they've also got this efficiency motivation, which in theory would be the great thing about private prisons. They waste less of your tax dollars, right? But you chase that at the expense of other people's rights. For instance, there was a prison that recently decided to no longer allow visits to inmates, period. The only way you could visit an inmate, if you were friend, family, whatever, is if you bought the prison iPads. Holy Christ feed. Whoa. Is if you paid the prison a certain amount of money to use their internet portal system, and you can only talk to your relatives and inmates and stuff through the iPad system that they set up for $35 an hour, and the inmates have to earn the privilege to do that. In other prisons, state-run ones, for example, you just get in-person visits that are normal, legal, like you see on TV, whatever. And it turned into a civil rights case. Is it a constitutional right to... Let me just see if I can get this straight. Is it a right to get in-person visits in a prison, or is it acceptable to make their relatives pay as much as humanly possible to see their face?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
So that's the reason I'm against private prisons, is that all of the motivations for that profit are all wrong. Don't get me wrong, I have a big boner for efficiency, okay? And I totally get that governments waste our money and stuff. But those incentives are tied to very, very spooky things.
Yes. That's what happened with that judge. I think he was a juvenile judge up in New York or something.
Correct.
They were putting all those kids in juvie because the juvie prisons were getting money for the kids being put in prison for rehabilitation or whatever. And it was wrong.
Yep. The judge had a very high rate of sentencing juveniles to prison, higher than most others. Yep, because the prison would make, we'll just say, we'll use that $1,000 again, right? They'll just turn $1,000 profit on each kid that's in that prison, and they can afford to pay the judge, you know, $200, $300, $500, whatever the hell. There were kids that were sent to that prison that killed themselves in prison or got killed by other prisoners. So,
did they all quit?
Say what?
It's like nobody even showing up.
Oh, there's 3 people on the other team that are gone.
Okay, that's why I was searching around looking and I didn't find anybody. I'm like, well, where'd everybody go?
A lot of things. Also hard to think of prisoners as people. They're all like monsters that have done terrible things and deserve to be punished. And a lot of them are bad people and they're getting the punishment they deserve. But the reason that I come out as like this bleeding heart type guy is that I know that there are innocent people that get sucked into the system like that, which is why you got to hold yourself to a high standard when it comes to dealing with unpleasant things.
Oh, I just got kicked.
Hey, you got kicked for killing me. Thanks, man.
Yeah, sorry.
How is it?
I haven't played that board in a while.
I haven't got kicked yet.
Froman said he's sorry he's killed you. But, you know, that was the other thing that comes down to the educational system is why don't they teach morals and values in high school? You know, like responsibility, balancing your checkbook, you know, learning how to thread, you know, pipe, you know, plumbing, woodworking, and electronics, small engines. These are some of the basic skills just to help survive, you know, in today's society. Now they want you to go and get a degree on all that stuff.
I agree.
And I keep seeing all these apps, you know, call this, you know, or link on here. We can get a plumber or an electrician or a gardener or a gutter guy or whatever at your house. You know, he's got reviews. You know, whatever happened to doing it yourself?
I think I just got an 8-man feed in my final kill cam.
Oh, good deal.
I'm going to have to clip that.
All right. You have to pick me up on that next one there.
I definitely will. I got an 8-man feed in my final kill cam. Holy crap.
Heck yeah. I just dropped a comment over there too, by the way.
Ben Salinas says, to the guy speaking, we don't learn those skills in high school because they're not necessary. Dude, I agree with you, disagree with you entirely. These skills are very importantly. How to manage money, basic economics, critical thinking, rational thinking, determining which sources are accurate or unbiased forms of information. I'm going to leave lobby with party. There's home economics, cooking. There's shop class, little things like that. So many you could do basic gun safety, gymnastics. I think is a fantastic one that's getting cut down on a little bit. It's very
Phys
nice
ed.
to
Basic
learn.
phys
Yeah,
ed.
phys ed. Learn and master your own body. Very nice thing to learn. You don't need them to get into college. You don't need them to pass the state test to do well.
Sent you an invite for a man.
But you do need them to live a good life, and I think that's important.
I was already here, dude.
And Archon 47 drop 388 says, if a person has done something to earn life in prison, hold up. If a person has done something to earn life in prison, why are we still spending money on human needs? The laws were made to keep us separated from the animals. Rape or murder is something an animal would do, not a person, and we should treat them as such. This is perfect compliment. I could get all judgy and hoity and lecture you about it. But the issue is that I don't have a problem treating human animals like they are animals. Most people wouldn't, because they're bad people, right?
You're right. Free will is the
make
determination between a wild animal and the wild versus human society.
Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem treating monsters like monsters. That doesn't break my heart.
No,
Okay.
not at all. Just like the shooter in Florida. By all means, give that kid the death penalty. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
The problem is that we do make mistakes along the way. When we're doing these things, we are human beings and we screw stuff up. There are innocent people in prison today, hundreds, thousands of them, for rape that they didn't commit, for murder they didn't commit, for embezzlement they didn't commit, for crimes that they never committed. And the reason that we don't just put people in cages and drown them, or the reason that when you get convicted of a crime, they just don't shoot you out back of the courthouse and roll your body in the ditch, is to protect that tiny minority of people that are innocent and do not deserve that treatment. And that's what separates us from the animals, is when let's say a dog or a monkey or a hyena breaks one of the pack's rules, the pack just kills it instantly. If the pack leader says no, dead, it's over. But we're a little more nuanced than that. We need a little bit more than just we should kill this guy. We got to put a little more effort into it, right? We got to make sure that everything's good. And I'm sure you're a good person and you donated in that. A day could come tomorrow, next week, next year, when you're 85 years old, that it's your neck on the chopping block and they've got all the evidence to send you away to jail forever for a crime that you never committed. And you definitely want to have those annoying, wasteful protections in place when it's your ass on the line.
Hey, everybody should get judicial justice. Everybody should have the chance and the opportunity to prove themselves wrong. If you spend 3 years in jail to defend yourself and prove yourself wrong, okay. But if you're guilty and you're found guilty by your peers and the evidence is overwhelmingly proving that you did it, by all means have justice done.
But that's why we wait. That's why it takes time. That's why we look for overwhelming evidence. And overwhelming evidence is a good word, because when you look at people that actually get the death sentence and stuff, wow, this guy's lagging out. The majority of them are like crimes that we have on videotape.
What?
The whole
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, like usually when you see people that get the death sentence or a really extreme penalty, it's crimes that have like 8 witnesses and DNA evidence, and it's on video, and it's pretty damning. It's not a wishy-washy case.
Did your game just end, or
Yeah, my game's done. I'm gonna find a new one. Are you here with me?
Yeah, it was like I got kicked for team kill.
Yeah, it looked like we got team killed, and it just kicked us, and it was in the game. I didn't get no stats, no nothing.
It may have kicked the host, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one thing that's different in the U.S. You get the opportunity to defend yourself. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. That's the law. Okay. Yeah, you got to go spend a bunch of money to get a lawyer to represent you and to plead your case and use the evidence to prove yourself innocent. But you have the chance to prove yourself innocent. You steal something in Egypt, you get your hand cut off.
Yep.
That's your sentence. If you do something wrong and you're a female, you get lashed. They still stone females over there. They just allowed females to drive over there in Dubai.
I thought it was Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Dubai is rough too. Look, Dubai,
Yeah.
they have this nice marketing, advertising image of a modern city-state, an oasis in the desert. That is like, that is a place built by slaves, and it is 100% authoritarian rule.
Yes.
I knew a dude who lived in Dubai. He was born and raised there, okay? He got into a traffic. He was speeding. And when he went to court, the court was in Arabic, and he didn't speak Arabic. He spoke like 5 languages, but Arabic was not one of them. And you don't get a translator. You get a trial by 3 judges that speak Arabic, and if you don't speak Arabic, you have to sit there in silence while the judges talk about your case.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Super fair. But Egypt, I'm not as familiar with, especially after their big shakeup. A lot of, we'll say, non-Western countries, and especially smaller, poorer ones, they don't have the luxury of a developed court system. Your punishment is immediate, and it's not always based on evidence. People get arrested for sorcery and witchcraft. Or you talk about, like, you steal from the market, you get your hand cut off. Do you know who makes that decision? Whoever the boss of the market is, whoever it's private security, if it's local police, it could be a lot of different things. It's just whoever is in charge that day. Sometimes it's a shop owner that cries wolf. You don't get a second chance. You just lose the arm and rip, you know.
Well, see,
Yeah, I know that Egypt doesn't cut hands off. It's just like a country.
Oh, no, they do.
Picking at random. We got a guy from Egypt that says they don't.
Oh, really?
I mean, I haven't been there, so I don't know for certain, but I know there's a lot of countries that do things like that specifically.
Regardless, let's move on that. That's the problem I have with the kids that's down there in Florida that are raging for all the gun control and everything. They don't realize, oh, this team killed K-Dog. They don't understand and realize that they're willing to give away their fundamental right, the foundation of this country. They're being indoctrinated. All these kids that walked out and ran out of school, that was illegal by their teachers. You are not allowed to use taxpayer money for political views or opinions.
My understanding is that the teachers, because the teachers allowed it, correct?
Yes. Well, not only that, the principals, the school boards allowed it. It was organized. It was across the United States. It was all of them doing it. And then the students that didn't want to participate were ridiculed, suspended.
I haven't seen suspended. I have heard ridiculed because it's not popular, right? Like if you're not doing the cool thing.
And it's wrong. And
it's a
with
little surprising that it's not college students. Usually big movements like this, and the comparison that I've seen is that college students are the ones that spur change. Like when college students protest, that's usually the next wave of change. This time it's high school students, and college students aren't doing anything except languishing and crippling debt.
Yes. Do you watch Louder Than Crowder?
Oh no, that guy drives me crazy, dude. I'm
what?
sorry.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, he can be hilarious, but his hilarity is largely shitlording.
Yes.
Mocking. I have a different. I like the word shitlording, even if you don't mean it in a negative manner. He likes to take people's presupposed notions about right and wrong, especially usually left-wing ideas, and just crap all over them. It makes people feel stupid, even though it's not like the nicest way to argue. It is quite funny. The inner troll in me loves it.
That's the part that I like about it. It's the trolling. It's kind of weird, but
okay.
I don't know.
We got Ben Salinas donated $3. Says very important point about the Middle East is I study Islamic law. Very interesting topic, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Only Wahhabi Islamic states restrict women to a great extent, i.e., Saudi Arabia. Iran, which has many problems, but they're surprisingly liberal in regards to women's rights. I remember Iran in the 70s, before the revolution happened. They were like a little America. It was crazy. It does vary in the region and from people to people quite significantly. I'm going to back where we're talking Louder with Crowder. The things that he does that kind of irritate me is he was oddly against net neutrality, which is something that I'm very
Yes.
strongly for, and for a lot of reasons, not just protecting my YouTube money. I fundamentally believe that we need net neutrality because companies are going to squeeze it and just turn it into like pay-per-view TV, and it's going to kill this great thing we have called the internet. And he's done some other things like there were only two genders, changed my mind. And the way he kind of set that up was just to it just wasn't nice to the poor people that came in, and most of the clips were people that couldn't articulate the idea of why they believe the things that they do very well. So not a big fan of Louder with Crowder, though I have had people tell me that I should ask to be on his show, but I don't even know what I would do there or what I would have to prepare to do that. Speaking of which, totally off topic, thank you for the invite to Hank's show. That was really fun. I think I had a good time. I think they had a good time hosting me. The audience went apeshit since I was playing like the guy who doesn't agree for the most part to keep the show interesting. They were going banana sandwich on me. It was crazy.
Really?
Oh yeah, the audience was straight like super insanely savage on me.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Oh, I was kind of keeping an eye on the comments. I'd never seen the word shill so many times in my life.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I just thought it gave you a whole nother perspective on everything that was going on. I thought you did all right.
Oh, me too. I loved it. I think the host of the show had a good time too, and views were high, but the comments were rough. But I'm kind of playing the antagonist there for that type of show. It's a very, very pro-gun show, and for most of the show, I took the other opinion for the sake of conversation. So most of the fans are going to hold a different opinion, and they let me know theirs very loudly and clearly.
Well, I do know when you was asking about silencers, it's just not random. I think, okay, it was the comment that you had made about accessibility and ease. I think that maybe you didn't know because you're not in that environment or aware of certain things to where people think it's just so easy just to go buy a gun. Just because you see it on the wall doesn't mean that you get it. And I think that there is a big disconnect from society that sees that. Now, you personally, I don't think that, but I think that in general society, if I see a rocket launcher on the wall, oh, I can buy that. Well, no, you can't. You have to have certain permits, regulations. You have to pass all kind of background checks. There's paperwork out the butt. You can wait up to a year and a half just to get your license to own stuff like that, and then you got to go get another license to maintain that, and to if you really wanted to use that. It's just not something that you can just randomly go and buy. That's not how it works. And a lot of people think that, yeah. And I know you're versed in weapons. I know you're versed in not gaming weapons, which you are, but I'm talking weapons in real life. You've been around them. You've grew up with them. You know what they're capable of doing.
I started shooting real guns when I was 7.
Yep. And I think that the younger generation, because of the lack of dual parents in the home, or the grandpa or the uncle taking little Bobby, even if it's a BB gun, hey, this is what it's for, this is what we use it for, this is the purpose of it. And yes, like you said, your comment earlier, people do make mistakes. If you don't if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to fail that mistake again. And it's the same thing with history. All these kids down in Florida, they failed history class. Their teachers failed in failing to teach them about history class, why we have guns, why guns are in our society, is because of our past and the direct foundation of our country. I
get shit on Twitter for trying to explain that, even in the driest, most basic sense of like, why do Americans like guns? Here's a short history lesson on why we like them. People hate it so much. Do you mind if we swap over to core for a bit, just for a change of pace?
Go ahead. Fro man, we're switching over to core, sir. Stock pack, get ready.
I'll give them a few minutes to change their classes, so I'll just chill for a minute. The whole chat has exploded into a conversation about the Middle East, primarily. A lot about Dubai not being that bad, Saudi Arabia this, Iran that. It's hard for me.
Give me some details of what's going on. What's your thoughts?
I said there's one that's like, well, Egypt doesn't chop off hands. Lol. Dubai is not that bad. It was a way back up. They tried to Americanize Iran in the 70s. Women can't drive. Where's another one?
They can't even be seen in public unless they have a uncle or a male relative.
Yeah.
They have to run in groups of 5. They can't show their hair or their face. You know, whatever happened to self-integrity, self-respect, you know, one's view of being beautiful. In Dubai, a woman cannot run around topless.
Well, you can't do that in America either.
Yeah, you can.
Depends on the state and the area.
What are you talking about? I'm not going to say where, but you're in Texas, and right down there by Austin is Hippie Holler. It's a nudist column. I used to go scuba diving down there all the time.
Well, that's a more niche place, and I'm sure even in the Middle East you'll find like more like weird niche places like that.
Well, I agree. Yeah, there can be, but
generally no. I'm not where were we at? I lost track of all this. It's a hard thing for me on YouTube because I have fans from around the world. I have fans, a lot of them. I have literally shipped packages to Karachi, Pakistan for like giveaway winners and stuff. And I try not to shit on their home countries, and I try not to make people feel lesser because they are Muslim or because they're brown or because of where they're from or whatever. And it's hard for me to politically correctly express why I disagree with that religion. And probably more than just the religion. It's with Islam in particular, you get an all-in-one package. You get a religion and it mixes with government a lot. It's an all-in-one. You get a culture, a religion, and a government that all mixes in one with far less separation than what I'm used to. And that's something that I fundamentally disagree with so much, and it's so hard to express appropriately on YouTube. I hear Dubai is so chilled out. I don't know what Drift0r is talking about. Yeah, dude, I had friends in Dubai, and his dad lost his job, and this dude was getting super paranoid, worried that he was going to go to jail because they still hadn't, like, paid off their house or whatever. Because if you have debt, you go to prison there. You go debtor's prison. Or the fact that the whole city is built on slave labor. They get, like, cheap-ass Cambodians and people from Bangladesh to come over and then take away their passports and pay them 1/10 of what they were supposed to, and they live in little tent cities outside. It's terrible. Like actually terrible. Dubai is a place I can shit on all day and all night.
Well, that's one reason why I joined the Army. I wanted to learn. I wanted to meet these other people from different cultures and different religions and different societies. I want to learn. I want to know their way of life. You know, our country imports so much products from these other countries. You know, I want to know who they are, where they're at, where they're from, how they live, you know, all that kind of stuff. It interests me. It's not that I agree or I disagree with your lifestyle or your religion or anything. I want to understand. But, you know, I will pick mine first over everybody else because of my background, who I am, and what I do. Oh, I just got sniped. I have never played Ground War, so forgive me of my ignorance of what I'm supposed to be doing here. I literally have never played Ground War, dude.
Okay, this isn't Ground War, it's a regular war. So you got smoke grenades. Yeah, no? Screw it, I'm building this bridge. We gotta smoke the bridge.
I'm standing right here in front of it.
We got a guy. So I'm arguing with Tubbs in particular. It says, sure, Dubai seems harsh, but it's seen that way. But it's seen the way that other countries' immigration systems have failed. Yeah, but we don't keep slaves, dude. Your immigrants aren't immigrants, bro. They're slaves. They can't go home if they want to. It's not optional. Like,
we don't have slave labor either.
Right. Like, so there's I think what he's trying to argue, and I wish I could talk to you a little more in person, is that what they want to do is separate the immigrants from the rest of Dubai, so that what we'll call an immigrant problem, which is a very common idea in a lot of countries, doesn't bleed over, so that they're just not immigrants everywhere ruining everything. But when let's say you come to work in Dubai as an immigrant, the minute you get off the airplane, you have to give up your passport, which is the only way you can get out of the country. It's not, well, it's optional for some people. Basically, yeah, it's not legal, but it's really like strong-armed, and a lot of people don't know any better, and they just take it and roll with it, right? And you'll give up your passport, and you'll get to your work site, and the guy in charge is like, well, congratulations, at $10 an hour, that's really $1.50 an hour. And that 5 days a week, that's really going to be 6 days a week. So good luck with all that. Oh, and by the way, all these other things that we promised, yeah, those aren't exactly here. And you'll say, all right, well, fuck that, I want to leave. And they'll say, well, we got you here for a 3-year contract, and I've got your passport, and you can't leave the country without it. So you're stuck here. And it's really bad. I would consider that slavery. Now, immigrating, oh, they're talking about immigrants. I'm not talking about people that legally immigrate through the formal official process and come in, and like rich people that want to buy a house. I'm talking about the poor-ass Asians that get picked up to be maids and stuff like that. They don't, and the laborers that build the Burj Dubai and those giant buildings, they don't get to back out.
Yes, ma'am. Almost.
This guy is saying they don't have slaves. People are paid very well here, but people have tried to be smart and destroyed their passports so that the UAE government would give them new passports. Dude, I think you're drinking your own Kool-Aid. You can look up any report from any governmental agency, UN, Amnesty International, any documentary. These people do not have the opportunity to return home. Like,
yes,
I have friends in Dubai, and they just they buy labor from these people because it's cheap and it's easy. They're like, they'll just tell them, hey, do you want to come work in my house, or do you want me to just call your employer and you go back out in the field? Like, it's not a joke. You can just go into Google right now, Tobbs 619. I promise you, just go to Google and just slam in there something about Dubai day laborers, Dubai give up your passport, and you will see hundreds of thousands of horror stories.
Yes. Not only that,
editors,
North
you as a
Korea
US
was
citizen,
sending a lot of their people over there to work too as slave labor.
Correct. Envious editors, you as a U.S. citizen will not have to give up your passport, but if you go in as a citizen of Vietnam, Cambodia, some other little country that they don't respect a whole lot, I guarantee you that passport is going to be taken away. There's also debtors. If you go into debt in Dubai, this is American or not, prison, there's very strict laws on pornography. There was a guy in the U.S. who was a singer at a nightclub, and he had gum in his shoe, and in the gum in his shoe, there was literally half of a marijuana seed that he stepped in a club, and they inspected the gum in his shoe. They pulled the seed out and ran it through an analyzer and determined that it was marijuana, and he got 5 years in prison. And
wow, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's not. I really wish I was making these things up, but it's rough. That's the reason I don't support these things. I'm not saying it's right, but if you're not a citizen of a country, you don't have rights there. You have privileges that can be taken away. Still, the slave trade is very real and alive in the Middle East and Africa. Yes, it is. Slavery is still a very real thing in a lot of countries.
Wow. Not used to having a respawn time.
I got people telling me it's Pakistanis that are primarily getting taken advantage of. Thank you for the heads up, man. They're behind me? What?
Yeah, this is like a sniper fest right here, dude.
It is. Fuck, come on. It's really not good, and that's the reason that I won't be visiting Dubai anytime soon, is because I know that my rights are far more questionable there. And like, if you come visit the U.S., you don't get the rights of all a citizen does, but you get the same legal system, same due process, and you get pretty much all the protections that a citizen does, no questions asked.
Oh, this dude came out blazing with a set of Kimbos. Oh my goodness. This is a fun fun game mode. I've never did this one.
Yeah, it has. There's 4 of these. Each one has different objectives and stuff. It is a very fun game mode.
Why didn't they put this in hardcore?
It's probably because of the next part where you build the bridge. You'll see. Well, we failed to build it. We didn't try that hard, to be honest, right? But you'll see when you're defending it how stupidly easy it is to defend just with regular weapons. In hardcore mode, it would be impossible. With grenades and the sniper perches, it would actually be impossible in hardcore mode. This was 100% balanced around core. I think is the best addition to the game that they've added.
Well, my guns definitely are not set up for core. I'm using the M1 Grand, and I'm getting like 5 and 6 hit markers on people, and not getting kills.
Anyway,
sorry. It's interesting how the U.S. is full of different laws, and we still accept everybody into our country with open arms, and people still try to crap on it.
I know. Uncle Wong Bang Yo Mom, glad you like the Black Ops 2 in-depth intro. I'm gonna try to get a really nice one for Black Ops 4 in-depth, I promise. The point of all of this being, I didn't really want to get into my crap on Dubai shitlordy kind of thing, was that if I dislike something, it's difficult for me to express that in a politically correct manner on YouTube without getting accused of being arbitrarily hateful or racist, and I'm glad that you guys haven't done that today.
Oh, by no means you're not. You actually have a very open mind on everything. That's why I really wanted to talk to you about it with everything.
Well, then let's back up 18 steps and tell me why you like Louder with Crowder, because I don't. Tell me why I should like it.
It's not that I don't listen to him like religiously. I think it's hilarious how he pushes people's buttons. And the trolling that happens in regards to that, you really don't see other social media people doing that. Oh, the guy's to the right side.
Yep.
It's a different perspective of them pushing the buttons. I think it's hilarious how he's doing it and getting away. Now, he got kicked off of YouTube 3 or 4 times. He's gotten banned off of Twitter for like a week or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's 4 of them on the bridge.
Okay, I'm gonna go try and hold it. Oh, shit. I got a huge donation. The Doctor 316 2472 says, "Hi Drift, I was really impressed with how you handled that trolling kid. Have you heard anything from him since? As long as I'm here, what are your expectations for the midterm elections? I've kept up. Keep up the good work. I love your COD stuff. Thank you very much." Sorry, I read that like a potato. It's structured pretty funnily. So the only thing I heard back from the trolling kid was that he really wanted me to delete the video from the internet because he said that he was very embarrassed about it. Tyvan, I assume that you saw that video at some point.
I think I have. It's been a while.
It was a kid that just came in to just absolutely troll me and call me a tranny.
Oh yes, during the live stream, you took his questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did see that.
What he asked me was, he asked if I would be willing to delete the video from the internet because he was very embarrassed about it. He said he didn't know his voice sounded like that. He felt sorry that he trolled me. He didn't want his biggest, impression on the internet to be of him doing something bad. He wanted some more positive attention to it on his channel and some stuff like that.
I wouldn't. I would say, hey, you need to use this as a learning tool. And to show others.
That's kind of what I was on. I told him that the basic answer I gave him was just no, that The video is already on 8 Thoughts' channel. It's already archived on my stream.
I wouldn't. I would leave it up and use it as a reference point for further people, and that maybe someday he'll understand that, you know, it wasn't meant to be hurtful. Look, you came to me, you addressed me, I addressed you, I gave you my opinion, my view, my thoughts, and it's a matter of record, and I'm going to leave it.
That's more or less, I left it at the matter of record. My feels was more that you literally came to my stream to troll me and make me miserable, and now you want me to do you a favor. The answer is no, you're going to deal with it.
Yep, pretty much.
Somebody says in the chat that check out the Change My Mind segments on Louder with Crowder. I'm the dude who sent you stuff about him a year ago. Yeah, Zach Summers, that's where I learned about him. And he said he'd be open to debate with somebody more like you if you wanted. Okay, I'll check into it. I feel like that's something I'd really need to prepare for, because obviously I think I'm right about everything. Everybody does. But if you're going into a debate like that, you gotta prepare. You gotta have your shit together, you know? But I'm all ears. So more about Louder with Crowder, please.
I think it's just a different perspective. He's found a niche in public liberal socialism, openness, you know, all that. I think he's just another dude who found another way to be successful in media. That's just pretty much it. I don't take what he says as gospel. I don't take what he says as, you know, definite, which you shouldn't do that with nobody. You should always do your research. You should always know what you're doing. You should always know what you're looking for. You know, all that. After this one, Drifter, I will have to go. The wife has dinner ready.
Gotcha. No worries. So I'm just sitting here sniping people. Hope you have a nice dinner. I don't ever do that anyway. I really have issues with isms. I never give myself into an ism or conservatism, liberalism, any kind of ism. I try not to ever buy into an ideology wholesale, because there's always something off, something wrong with it, you know, something that you disagree with. And it really scares me when I run into people that sort of wholesale just say, okay, well, this is the way the Democratic Party does it. Well, this is the way I'm doing it too, because that's the right way. And I'm like, nope, that is not how critical thinking works.
And yes, and everything you read on the internet is not fact. Please understand. Do your own research. Look at, see what's available. See what's out there. Oh, he's on top of the tank.
Internet facts, my favorite facts.
Yes. You know it's got to be true. I read it on the internet. And that is not the case at all.
Not even remotely. A lot of people are saying if I go on Change My Mind, Louder with Crowder is going to work super hard to misconstrue my statements. Yeah, that's a very normal arguing tactic. When you just really want to be right, you take somebody's statement and drive it down into the minutia very, 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 very hard. And try to trip them up in what they're doing instead of taking the broader. Anyway, I got off track on the donation. Midterm elections, I honest to God am not sure about. If I wanted to do pure analytical data, it's looking very positive for Democrats because they're spending more than ever. And midterm
I spent a lot of
elections,
money last time and wasn't successful. I don't think it's money.
right. Well, I was going to say another one. One of the things that's really normal in elections is that people oddly vote for what they against what they don't like. So one of the things that really helped Trump win is that people were really tired of Obama and they're really tired of sort of left-wing politics and stuff. And they voted for Trump because they didn't like all the same things that he didn't like. And in the midterm elections, there's a lot of anti-Trump sentiment. And historically on midterm elections, if the president's not doing well, if things aren't going the way people want them, if it's unpopular, they'll vote opposite party as sort of a chaos vote. So they have that going, and I'll agree with you on what I'm about to say next. They have all this stuff. They have the money, they have the marketing, they have the unpopular president. But that didn't help last time, you know. So,
Yes,
honest to God, anything could happen.
Yes, sir. Hey, Drifter, thank you, sir. Don't mean to be rude. I do have to back out. Dinner is ready. So thanks for the polite conversation, sir. It's always an honor.
Oh, anytime.
So shout out to everybody over on Drifter's live stream there. Everybody from here to the TIVAN Show, wish you guys all a happy, great day. Be safe. The summer is almost here. So, Drifter, I'm going to go ahead and back out here, bub, end my live stream up. And thank you, sir.
Anytime. Catch you later, man.
All right, guys. Bye, everybody. See y'all later. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. It's just a nice, polite conversation with Drifter. Awesome dude. Definitely a different perspective on everything. So, appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. We're back up next Saturday. So, with some GTA 5. Exulis is supposed to be hosting the lobby. So, y'all be cool. Be safe. And we will see you guys in the next live stream. See ya. Bye, everybody. Mr. Throwman.